Hello, Scaleman here. I'm sort of like the mailman, except instead of packages and parcel, I deliver a sense of scale. Today, we'll be talking about capacities. What is a capacity? Merriam-Webster states that capacity is either a legal competency or fitness, the potential or suitability for holding, storing, or accommodating, the maximum amount or number that can be contained or accommodated, or an individual's mental or physical ability. Today, we're most interested in the numerical sense of the word, or a maximum amount that something can hold. Capacity originated around the early 15th century as a description of something's ability to contain or to hold. But another definition of the term hold can also be thought of as to weight, or in aircraft terminology, a holding pattern. A holding pattern is a loop that an aircraft will follow in order to delay its progress. For example, if an airport is unable to accept any incoming flights at the time the aircraft arrives, it will be placed into a holding pattern. Holding patterns typically last around 4 minutes in total, with an average maximum speed of 238 knots, or 440 kilometers per hour, or 273 miles per hour. This means that this loop is approximately 29.4 kilometers in length, or 18.26 miles. It's a pretty large loop, but holding patterns are costly and waste a lot of fuel. How much can a plane carry? To find out, let's take a look at a Boeing 747. There are many variations, but today we will be talking about the Boeing 747-800, and specifically the freighter version, which carries cargo. The Boeing 747-800 is 250 feet 2 inches long, or 76.25 meters. To start, the maximum takeoff weight of a 747-800 is 987,000 pounds, or 448,000 kilograms. This is the maximum weight that the aircraft is able to safely attain lift with. The aircraft is capable of carrying a maximum of 229,980 liters of fuel. How much stuff can this aircraft carry, though? The freighter is capable of carrying a maximum of 295,800 pounds of cargo, or 134,200 kilograms. This is its cargo capacity. But how much is this, really? To understand the scale of the capacity of the 747-800 freighter, let's take a look at the scale of the entire plane itself. Here we can see the silhouette of a man in one of the forward doorways on the aircraft. From here on out, this little silhouette shall be referred to as the scaled scaleman. So, as you can see, this is a very large machine. Let's dig deeper. You can try this out at home to get a feel for the size of the 747-800. Cut out a small strip of paper to 1 centimeter in length by about 5 millimeters in width. This will represent the average human height. Now, according to this scale, the 747-800 would then be 46.21 centimeters long. Roll out a measuring tape, or otherwise measure out this length and place your 1 centimeter strip next to it. If this 1 centimeter strip is the scaled scaleman, then to him, the Boeing 747-800 is 46.21 centimeters long. Now that we've put the size of the freighter into scale, let's put the capacity of this aircraft into scale. Let's pretend that this capacity is entirely in water. 134,200 kilograms of water is about 134,200 liters of water. This much water can fit into a cube whose side length is 5.12 meters, or 16.8 feet. This means that to our 1 centimeter tall scaled scaleman, this cube would be 3.1 centimeters, or 1.22 inches on all sides. Go ahead and measure out this distance at home and compare it with your paper scaled scaleman to get a sense of the size of this cube. Here, we can see the cube overlaid approximately to scale. If this cube were filled with water, it would represent the maximum amount of cargo that this plane would be able to safely take off with. But what if we needed to transport more? Freight trains. Freight trains can carry significantly more than a single Boeing 747-800 can. Freight trains make the already enormous 134,200 kilogram capacity of the 747 look like child's play. How much can they carry? Well, let's dig in. Freight trains come in many varieties, but today, what we are most concerned with is the heaviest capacity variety. Freight trains that haul iron ore, coal, and other bulk materials like this are always the most massive. The weight of these loads is limited by a few factors, namely axle load and line load. There are some crazy records out there. For example, the world record belongs to Australia with the BHP company, a mining and metals company. During a trial in 2001, with 682 ore cars and 8 distributed locomotives, the train reached a total weight of 99,734 tons. Before we get to scaling, let's take a look at some limitations here. Axle load is the maximum weight per train car axle. Line load is the maximum weight per meter or foot of train. We see here that the maximum permitted weight per axle is about 40 tons. The average heaviest weight for a total freight train is around 20,000 tons, or 20 million kilograms, or 44 million pounds. This is distributed across many rail cars, adding up to typically a maximum length of around 2,000 yards, or 1,829 meters. So, to our scaled scaleman, this would be 11.08 meters, or 36.35 feet. That is one long train. Go ahead and measure this out for your scaled scaleman now. These freight trains carry much of the necessary resources that we need to live in today's world. Thus, we enter a different type of capacity. What is the carrying capacity of the world? In biology, carrying capacity is referred to the maximum population size of a species that the environment can sustain indefinitely, given the food, habitat, water, and other necessities available in the environment. Let's take humans, for example. A 2001 UN report stated that the maximum sustainable population for humans on Earth is between 4 billion to 16 billion people, with a median of about 10 billion. This chart here shows how a population will always naturally trend towards a sustainable average. If overpopulated, the system will fall until reaching the average. If underpopulated, the system grows towards the average. The world's current population is estimated at 7.55 billion people. This means that if the maximum is 10 billion people, we still have about 2.45 billion people left to go. Let's take a look at the scale of this growth. 2.45 billion is a huge number of people. It is roughly 32% of the current population. Let's use our scaled scaleman in a thought experiment. If 2.45 billion people stood shoulder to shoulder, this line of people would extend to roughly 1.12 million kilometers, or 696,023 miles. Even this number is hard to comprehend. This is where a scaled scaleman can help us. If he is 1 centimeter tall, then he should be 2.7 millimeters wide shoulder to shoulder. Now, if we put 2.45 billion scaled scalemen next to each other, the resulting line would be 6,615 kilometers long, or 4,110 miles. 2.45 billion scaled scalemen, 2.7 millimeters wide each, placed end to end, would extend to the length of the Nile River. If you used standard paper to cut out your scaled scaleman, then he is only 0.05 millimeters thick. But stack 2.45 billion of them on top of each other, and you've got a pile that is 122.5 kilometers, or 76 miles high. That's greater than the thickness of the Earth's atmosphere into space. Planes, trains, and even the Earth have very large capacities, but none of these will top the capacity that your brain has for learning. Thank you for taking the time to learn a little more today with me. Until next time, this is the Scaleman wishing you a greater sense of scale.